My name is Rachel, and I need to tell you about the Christmas that broke me wide open and showed me who I really was to my family. Not a daughter. Not a sister. A checkbook with a heartbeat. For years, I told myself I was being generous. Loving. The kind of family member who steps up when things get hard. I'm 32, single, no kids, good job in pharmaceutical sales. I make decent money, and I've always believed that when you have more, you help the people you love. But here's what nobody tells you about being the family ATM. Eventually, they stop seeing you as a person. You become a service. A utility. Something they expect to work when they flip the switch. And the night everything fell apart started with 8 words from my sister that I'll never forget. If you're not going to watch 4 kids, then don't even come. Let me back up. I had spent the last 4 months planning the perfect Christmas getaway for my entire family. My parents, my older sister Vanessa, her husband Troy, and their 4 kids, ages 3, 5, 7, and 9. I rented this gorgeous cabin in the Smoky Mountains. 5 bedrooms, a hot tub, a stone fireplace you could roast a whole pig in. I booked ski passes for everyone. Hired a private chef for Christmas Eve dinner so nobody had to cook. Bought presents for all the kids. Stocked the place with groceries, wine, hot chocolate, the works. Total cost? $14,000. I didn't do it to show off. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I just wanted one Christmas where everyone could relax and be happy together. Where my parents didn't have to worry about money for once. Where Vanessa could enjoy the holiday without stressing about feeding her kids. Where we could all just be a family. It wasn't unusual for me to pay for things. Over the last 5 years, I've quietly covered emergency car repairs for my parents when their Buick died in July heat. Plane tickets so Vanessa's family could attend our cousin's wedding in California. The security deposit on Vanessa's house when they were short $3,000. Medical bills when my dad's insurance wouldn't cover his back surgery rehab. School supplies and field trip fees for all 4 kids. Last year's family reunion at a lake house in Michigan. I never kept score. I never threw it in anyone's face. I just helped because I thought that's what you do when you love people and you're able to give. But I was about to learn a brutal lesson. Some people aren't grateful for your generosity. They're addicted to it. And the moment you set a boundary, they'll make you the villain in a story where you've been the hero all along. The conversation happened at Sunday dinner at my parents' house in suburban Cleveland. Mom had made her usual pot roast with carrots and potatoes. We were all sitting around the same oak table where I'd done homework as a kid, where we'd celebrated birthdays and graduations, where I'd once believed I was valued. Vanessa was feeding her youngest, Noah, bits of mashed potato while the other 3 kids watched cartoons in the living room. Troy was scrolling through his phone. My dad was working on his second beer. Mom was already clearing plates even though half of us weren't finished. That's when Vanessa dropped it. So, Rachel, I've been thinking about the Christmas trip. She said it casually, like she was commenting on the weather. Since you're the only one without kids and you don't really ski anyway, you'll watch all 4 while the rest of us hit the slopes. It just makes sense. I stopped mid-bite of pot roast. Wait, what? Vanessa looked at me like I was being deliberately dense. The kids can't ski the difficult trails, and Troy and I never get alone time. Mom and Dad want to ski together, so you'll stay back at the cabin with the kids. It's only fair. Only fair. Those 2 words hit me like a slap. Fair how? I asked slowly. I'm paying for this entire trip. Mom jumped in before Vanessa could answer. Honey, it would really help everyone enjoy Christmas without the stress of managing 4 young children. You're so good with them. My dad nodded, not even looking up from his beer. Be supportive, Rachel. You know your sister has a lot on her plate. I felt something cold settle in my chest. So let me get this straight. I'm spending $14,000 on this trip, and my role is to stay behind and babysit all day while everyone else has fun. Vanessa crossed her arms. Don't be dramatic. It's a few hours. And honestly, if you're going to make this difficult, then maybe you shouldn't even come. The room went quiet. My mother looked down at her plate. My father cleared his throat and said nothing. Troy finally glanced up from his phone, realized something heavy was happening, and quickly looked back down. Nobody defended me. Nobody said, Wait, that's not fair to Rachel. Nobody said, she's paying for everything, maybe we should work out childcare differently. They just sat there, expecting me to smile and agree like I always did. And that's when I realized, I had trained them to treat me this way. I didn't explode. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I just excused myself, drove home to my apartment in silence, and sat on my couch staring at the wall for an hour. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. So are you going to help or not? We need to finalize plans. I looked at that message for a long time. Then I opened my laptop. I pulled up every booking confirmation. The cabin rental. The ski passes. The chef. The grocery delivery. The transportation van I'd reserved. One by one, I cancelled them all. Some were fully refundable. Some cost me cancellation fees. I didn't care. I ate the losses and felt nothing but cold, clear resolve. When everything was cancelled, I picked up my phone and typed one message to the family group chat. Cool. Then my $14,000 isn't showing up to Christmas either. Have fun figuring it out. I hit send. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. For the first time in years, I slept through the entire night without waking up once. I turned my phone back on the next morning to 73 notifications. 73. The group chat was a dumpster fire. Vanessa, are you kidding me right now? Mom, Rachel Elizabeth, this is childish. Call me immediately. Dad, you're being selfish. Just watch the kids. It's not that serious. Vanessa, we already told the kids about the cabin. They've been excited for weeks. How could you do this to them? Mom, don't punish everyone because you're having a tantrum. Troy, this is really messed up, Rachel. I read through every message twice. Then I typed one response. I'm not fixing something I didn't break. If babysitting was the price of admission, you should have mentioned that before I spent 14 grand. Merry Christmas. Then I muted the chat. My phone immediately started ringing. Mom. Declined. Vanessa. Declined. Dad. Declined. A text from Vanessa came through on a separate thread. You're tearing this family apart over babysitting? You're pathetic. I stared at that word. Pathetic. From the woman whose mortgage deposit I'd covered. Whose kids I'd bought school supplies for every August. Who called me in tears last spring when they couldn't afford Noah's medication, and I sent $500 within the hour. Pathetic. I blocked her number. Not forever. Just until I could breathe without feeling like my chest was caving in. 3 days passed in blessed silence. Then my dad sent a text to a new group chat, one without me in it, but my mom accidentally forwarded a screenshot. Dad, found a cabin in Gatlinburg. Not as nice, but it's $1,200 for 3 nights. We can still do Christmas. Mom, good. We are not letting Rachel's behavior ruin the holiday. Vanessa, exactly. She'll come crawling back when she realizes how immature she's being. I stared at that screenshot and laughed. Actually laughed out loud in my empty apartment. They were still going. Without me. On some budget cabin they'd scrambled to find because I refused to bankroll their vacation and provide free labor. Fine. I called my best friend, Jordan, and asked if her family's Christmas invitation was still open. Are you serious? She asked. Yes. We'd love to have you. So I packed a bag, bought hostess gifts, and spent Christmas week with people who actually wanted me there, not my wallet, not my babysitting services. Me. Meanwhile, based on what I heard later, my family's discount Christmas was a complete disaster. The cabin's heating barely worked. Vanessa posted a photo of everyone in coats and blankets indoors with the caption "Rustic Vibes LOL." The kids fought constantly in the cramped space. Troy got food poisoning from gas station sushi. My dad slipped on ice in the driveway and sprained his wrist badly enough to need a brace. Mom got into an argument with the cabin owner about the condition of the place. And then, the grand finale, one of the kids spilled an entire carton of grape juice on the white couch, and the cabin charged them $800 in damage fees. Vanessa's Instagram stories told the whole saga. I watched them in real time from Jordan's parents' cozy living room, while drinking spiked hot chocolate and laughing until my sides hurt. The comments on Vanessa's posts were brutal. Where's Rachel? She usually plans everything. Girl, you should have just stayed home. This looks stressful. Hope next year is better. I didn't comment. I didn't like anything. I just watched the slow-motion train wreck and felt absolutely nothing. After Christmas, I drove to Shaker Heights to visit my Aunt Diane, my mom's older sister and the only family member who'd ever really seen me. She made coffee, sat me down at her kitchen table, and said, "I need to show you something." She slid a manila folder across the table. "What's this?" I asked. "Open it." Inside was a printed spreadsheet. Rows and rows of entries, dated and categorized. September 2019, car repair for parents, $1,400. June 2020, plane tickets for Vanessa's family, $2,100. December 2020, house deposit, $3,000. March 2021, dad's medical bills, $4,500. August 2021, school supplies, field trips, $890. On and on it went. 5 years of receipts. At the bottom of the last page, a total. $63,740. I stared at that number until it blurred. "I kept records," Aunt Diane said quietly. "I watched you give and give. I knew someday they'd act like none of it mattered. So I kept proof." My throat closed up. I couldn't speak. "Do you want me to send this to them?" she asked. I looked at my aunt, this woman who'd quietly witnessed my generosity and my family's ingratitude for years, and I nodded. "Yes." She forwarded the email that night with the subject line, "In case anyone forgot." My phone exploded within minutes. Mom called 6 times. Dad left a voicemail that just said, "We need to talk about this." Troy texted privately, "I had no idea it was this much. I'm really sorry, Rachel." I ignored all of them except one. Late that night, my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Vanessa standing there. No makeup. Eyes red and swollen. Hair in a messy ponytail. I opened the door. She didn't speak at first. Just stood there shaking. Then she whispered, "I didn't know. I knew you help sometimes, but I didn't know it was that much. That often." "You didn't want to know," I said flatly. She flinched. "You're right. I got used to you fixing things. I stopped seeing you as my sister and started seeing you as a solution. And that's fucked up. I'm so sorry, Rachel. I really am." For the first time in weeks, I saw something real in her eyes. Not defensiveness. Not entitlement. Genuine remorse. "I can't go back to how things were," I told her. "I can't be the person who pays for everything and gets treated like hired help." "I know," she said. "I don't want that either. I want my sister back." We stood there for a long moment. Then I stepped aside and let her in. We talked for 3 hours that night. Really talked. She apologized for taking me for granted. I told her how invisible I'd felt. We cried. We hugged. We agreed that things had to change. My parents called the next day. The conversation was harder, but they admitted they'd enabled Vanessa's behavior and mine, expecting me to always be the safety net without ever asking if I was okay. I set new boundaries. I will show up as family, not as a bank. I will help in emergencies, but not fund lifestyles. I will love them, but I will not be used. They could accept that or lose me. Their choice. It's been 6 months now. Things aren't perfect, but they're better. Vanessa actually budgets now. My parents don't assume I'll cover things anymore. We are learning to be a family where everyone contributes. And me? I'm learning that generosity without boundaries isn't love. It's self-destruction. My $14,000 isn't showing up to Christmas this year either. But this time, I'm still invited. And that makes all the difference.